Sarai Cole, could you comment on the allegation that your methodology was plagiarized from your ex-husband's work? The journalist's voice cut through the press conference murmur like a blade. Sarai's hand froze halfway to the microphone. Around her, camera flashes erupted. Hungry, relentless. The Seoul Grand Convention Center, 300 seats packed with venture capitalists, tech CEOs, and media vultures, held its collective breath. She should have expected this. 8 years in Seoul, and still, someone always dug up the past. Beside her, the cosmetics CEO, her client, the man who'd paid 6 figures for this strategic consulting debut, shifted in his seat. His discomfort radiated like heat. Sarai felt the weight of his gaze. Fix this, now. But before she could respond, a figure stood 3 rows back. Excuse me. The voice was young, male, assertive without aggression. I'm Ryu Seong-jin, Paywave CEO. That question violates the panel agreement. Personal attacks disguised as journalism. Ms. Cole is here to discuss market expansion strategy, not entertain tabloid speculation. The room pivoted. Sarai turned. Thin-framed glasses, white shirt, sleeves rolled to the elbows. 29 years old, according to the tech blogs. But his eyes carried an exhaustion that didn't match the smooth face. The journalist sputtered. Mr. Ryu, with respect. With respect, Seong-jin interrupted. If you're more interested in gossip than business innovation, there's a tabloid conference downstairs. I believe they're discussing celebrity diets. Laughter rippled through the audience. Not cruel, relieved. Someone had named the elephant, and the room exhaled. Sarai recovered. Thank you, Mr. Ryu. To answer the relevant question I was prepared for. Yes, cultural adaptation without appropriation is the challenge of global branding. No, it's not solved by hiring a consultant and checking a diversity box. It requires sustained partnership, humility, and the courage to admit what you don't know. Applause. Her client's shoulders dropped an inch. The panel continued. But 40 minutes later, in the lounge reserved for speakers, Seong-jin found her nursing a double espresso and staring at her phone. You didn't have to do that, Sarai said without looking up. I didn't do it for you. He poured himself water from the glass carafe, movements economical. I did it because that journalist ambushed 3 other speakers this quarter with personal attacks. Someone needed to call it out. She finally met his gaze. Altruism or brand strategy? Can't it be both? Silence. The good kind, where 2 adults recognize each other across the performative noise. You want something, Sarai said. Not a question. Seong-jin smiled, crooked and weary. I want to stop pretending. Every meeting is theater. Every relationship is transactional. Every conversation has 7 layers of subtext, and I'm tired of translating. He set down the glass. You stood up there and told 300 people the truth, that most companies want credit for diversity without doing the work. No one does that here, not without a script. Maybe I'm just American and don't know better. Maybe. Or maybe you're 51 and done with games. She should have been offended. Instead, she laughed, a real laugh, the kind she hadn't heard from herself in months. You researched me. I research everyone. Occupational hazard. Pause. You've been in Seoul 8 years. You rebuilt your consultancy from zero after your ex-husband's firm collapsed. You speak conversational Korean, prefer Gangnam cafes to Itaewon bars, and you haven't dated publicly since you arrived. Stalker or strategist? Pragmatist. He leaned against the counter. Here's my proposal. Let's make a deal. No filter, no performance. If there's interest, romantic, professional, whatever, truth comes first. If not, we walk away without resentment. No corporate politeness, no 7-layer subtext. Sarai studied him. The fine lines around his eyes. The Mont Blanc pen in his shirt pocket. Status symbol. Probably a gift he never used for anything personal. The way his hands didn't fidget, even though his proposal was insane. What if the truth hurts? Hurting is better than pretending. She should have said no. She should have remembered that 29-year-old CEOs still think sincerity is a strategy, not vulnerability. But something in his gaze, that exhaustion, that flicker of hope buried under pragmatism, echoed something in her. Sarai held out her hand. Truth above convenience. No games. The second one of us starts performing, the deal is off. Xiangjin shook it. Not a corporate handshake, a pact. What neither of us knew, she would say later, is that choosing truth doesn't mean choosing peace. It means declaring war on everything the world expects you to be. The lights in the lounge flickered once. Neither of them noticed. But if they had, they might have recognized the omen. Light that fails always tests whether you can find your way in the dark. If you've ever been asked to be less of yourself to fit in, you already know. The performance costs more than the truth. This is the story of two people who refused to pay that price. Subscribed to stay with them through every choice, every consequence, every moment the world told them to be smaller, and they chose to be whole instead. The 24-hour bookstore in Zhongnyo wasn't famous, which made it perfect. Sarai arrived first, scanning the philosophy aisle out of habit. She told Seongjin to meet her here after his board meeting ran late, testing the pact already. Would he actually show up at 1 a.m., or was the handshake just another beautiful performance? He arrived at 1:17, hair disheveled, tie loosened, carrying 2 iced Americanos. "You're late," she said. "Board meetings are purgatory with PowerPoint. You're reading Camus. That tracks." The myth of Sisyphus seemed appropriate for consultant life. He pulled a book from the adjacent shelf. Marcus Aurelius. Meditations. Stoicism. Because if you can't control the outcome, control the reaction. That's very CEO of you. That's very exhausted of me. They sat in the reading nook, 2 wingback chairs under a paper lamp that cast everything in warm amber. Outside, Seoul hummed. Neon, traffic, the 24-hour pulse of a city that never quite slept. Inside, silence. The kind that didn't need filling. "Tell me something true," Xiangjin said. "Not consultant true. Actually true." Sarai considered. "I came to Seoul because staying in New York meant watching my ex-husband win awards for work we built together. He didn't just cheat. He stole the methodology, filed it under his name, and sold it to the competitors who destroyed our firm. Everyone believed him. The industry moved on. And I realized, if I stayed, I'd spend the rest of my career proving I wasn't the fraud. Here I could just build again." Xiangjin didn't offer platitudes. He just nodded. "Your turn." 2 years ago, Paywave almost went bankrupt. We pivoted too fast, burned through capital, and I had 72 hours to find an investor or lay off 300 people. Taejun, he's on my board now, introduced me to a Chibo-linked fund. They saved the company. But the contract has a morality clause. If my personal conduct damages the brand, they can trigger a buyout at 30 cents on the dollar. I signed it anyway, and I've been performing acceptable CEO ever since. That's why you jumped in at the panel. You recognized a performance trap. I recognized someone about to be ambushed by her own honesty. They talked until 4 a.m. Not about business, about everything else. Her son, 26, living in Lagos, working in renewable energy, who called her twice a month and never asked about dating. His grandmother in Busan, the only person who still scolded him for working too much. Her love of Toni Morrison. His obsession with Japanese jazz. The way Seoul felt like an exhale after New York's constant inhale. When they finally stood to leave, the sun was bleeding pink and orange over Bukchon-Hanok village in the distance. "This doesn't make sense," Sarai said as they stepped outside. "You know that, right?" "What doesn't?" "You're 29. I'm 51. You're a public figure. I'm building credibility in a market that already questions everything I do. If someone saw us right now, they'd see 2 people getting coffee after a long night. Unless you think it should mean more." She paused. "I think it could mean more, and that terrifies me." Xiangjin smiled, soft and real. Good. Terror means you're paying attention. A photographer, freelance, hunting for celebrity breakfast shots, captured them from across the street. 2 figures under the bookstore awning, holding coffee cups, faces unguarded. He didn't think much of it. Just another Seoul morning. The photo would leak 18 hours later, and with it, the first test of the pact. Truth, even when the world is watching. Minhua called at 9:47 a.m., voice tight. Have you seen the internet? Sarai, halfway through her morning emails, frowned. Good morning to you too. Sarai, check Naver, now. The headline was in Korean, but she didn't need translation. Paywave CEO Ryu Seong-jin, spotted with older foreign woman, new romance or business strategy. Below it, the photo. Her and Seong-jin outside the bookstore, mid-laugh, coffee cups raised like a toast. The angle made it look intimate. The caption made it salacious. Her phone buzzed. Seong-jin. We need to talk. My office. 11 a.m.? She replied, I'll be there. Minhua's voice crackled through the speaker. Sarai, this is bad. Not disaster bad, but Seoul loves a scandal bad. They're calling you a cougar, him a rebel. The age gap is the headline. We had coffee, in public, after a business event. You had coffee at 4 a.m. looking at each other like the rest of the world didn't exist. Context doesn't matter. Optics do. Since when do you care about optics? Silence. Then quieter. Since my divorce lawyer told me public perception affects custody. Since I learned that the truth doesn't protect you if the narrative gets there first. Sarai softened. Minhua, I didn't know. No one does. I'm telling you because I don't want you blindsided. If you care about him, or even if you don't, you need to decide. Do you control the story, or does the story control you? Seong-jin's office occupied the 32nd floor of a glass tower in Gangnam. Floor-to-ceiling windows framed the city like a living painting. Steel, green, chaos organized into grids. He stood when she entered, gestured to the sitting area. Low modern couch, glass coffee table, ceramic tea set. I'm sorry, he said immediately. For what? Having coffee? For not anticipating this. I should have known someone would. Seong-jin. She sat, deliberate. If we're doing this, the pact, the truth thing, then we don't apologize for existing. We decide what happens next. He exhaled, shoulders dropping. Taejun wants me to release a statement. Ms. Cole is a respected consultant. We met to discuss potential collaboration. No romantic involvement. Is that true? No? Then we don't say it. Sarai, my board. Your board, she interrupted, doesn't own your life. They own shares in your company. There's a difference. Not when the morality clause exists. She leaned forward. Then let's ask the real question. What do you want? He looked at her. Really looked. The way he had in the bookstore, under amber light. I want to see where this goes. I want to have coffee at 4 a.m. and not think about headlines. I want to choose the truth and not lose everything I built. You can't have all three. Not yet. So which two matter most? Silence. The kind that precedes honesty. Truth, he said finally. And you. The company can survive a scandal. I'm not sure I can survive another decade of performing. Sarai smiled, something fierce and bright. Then here's what we do. We don't release a statement. We don't deny. We don't confirm. We let the internet exhaust itself on speculation. And in the meantime, we figure out if this is real or just a beautiful idea. And if it's real, then we'll face the consequence together. If it's not, we walk away clean. That was the deal. He extended his hand again, the same gesture from the convention center, but heavier now. Truth above convenience. She shook it. No games. Neither of them saw Taejun standing outside the glass door, expression unreadable, watching the handshake with the focus of a man calculating risk. The board meeting happened 3 days later. Xiangjin sat at the head of the table, glass, chrome, leather chairs designed to intimidate, flanked by 9 board members who'd invested millions and expected returns. Taejun sat to his right, fingers steepled, face placid. Agenda Item 5, Taejun began, voice calm, surgical. CEO conduct and brand perception. The room stilled. Over the past 72 hours, Taejun continued, media speculation regarding Mr. Ryu's personal life has generated 2.3 million online impressions. 68% negative or questioning. Our investor relations team has fielded 14 calls, asking if the rumors affect the upcoming IPO. A board member, older, former Samsung VP gray suit, spoke up. Mr. Ryu, we're not here to police your private life, but the morality clause exists for a reason. Behavior that undermines investor confidence triggers consequences. Can you clarify the nature of your relationship with Ms. Cole? Xiangjin met his gaze. She's someone I respect. Someone I'm getting to know. Beyond that, it's personal. Personal becomes public when you're the face of a pre-IPO company. Taejun said, still calm, still surgical. I'm not asking you to end a relationship. I'm asking you to manage perception. A simple statement. Professional acquaintance. No romantic involvement. 3 months. After the IPO closes, do what you want. And if I don't? Then the board votes on whether your conduct violates Clause 19, behavior detrimental to company interest. If it passes, the morality clause triggers. We lose control. The investors take over. Xiangjin looked around the table. 9 faces, some sympathetic, some impatient, all waiting. I'm not lying about my life to protect a stock price. Taejun's expression didn't change. Then you're choosing her over 300 employees who depend on this IPO. I'm choosing integrity. If the company can't survive that, maybe it doesn't deserve to. The vote happened in silence, 5-4. Majority ruled. Xiangjin was suspended as CEO, pending image recovery review. 30 days. Taejun would serve as interim. As the room emptied, Taejun lingered. You're making a mistake. Maybe, but it's my mistake. No, Xiangjin. When you signed the investment contract, you made it our mistake. And we don't lose gracefully. Sarai found out via text. Suspended, 30 days, board vote, I'm okay. Can I see you? She stared at the message, her chest tight, her hands steady. She'd been here before, watching someone lose something because of her. But this time, the someone had chosen the loss, chosen truth, chosen her. She typed, my place. I'll make dinner. 3 minutes later. I don't want you to cook. I just want to sit with someone who doesn't think I'm insane. Then come sit. Insanity loves company. That night, in her apartment, small, minimalist, Hanamdong, Xiangjin sat on her couch and cried. Not loud, not dramatic. Just silent tears that came from somewhere old and deep. Sarai didn't ask questions. She just sat beside him, hand on his shoulder, present. I thought choosing the truth would feel better, he said finally. It will, just not yet. When? When you stop measuring it against what you lost, and start measuring it against what you kept. What did I keep? She squeezed his shoulder. Yourself. That's not nothing. He leaned into her, head on her shoulder, and for the first time in 51 years, Sarai understood what people meant when they said, love isn't fireworks, it's coming home. Minhua dug up the documents because that's what friends do when the stakes are life-altering. She found Sarai at their usual cafe. Samcheong dong, exposed brick, succulents on every surface, and slid a folder across the table. What's this? The investment contract that saved Paywave 2 years ago. I know someone in venture law. She owed me a favor. Sarai opened it. Pages of legalese, signatures, clauses. She scanned, then stopped. Clause 19, morality and public conduct. The investor reserves the right to trigger buyout terms if the CEO's personal behavior demonstrably harms brand valuation or investor confidence, as determined by board majority vote. Addendum B. Image Management Protocol. CEO agrees to prior consultation with board-appointed PR counsel for any public relationships, media appearances, or personal conduct likely to generate significant press coverage. Sarai looked up. He didn't tell me this part. Maybe he didn't think it mattered. Or maybe he thought you'd walk if you knew. He signed away his autonomy to save the company. He signed away his autonomy to save 300 jobs. There's a difference. Sarai's jaw tightened. No, there isn't. Not when he's paying the price for a decision they all benefited from. So what are you going to do? Talk to him. Because if we're doing radical honesty, this counts. She found him at his apartment that evening. Sleek, modern, floor-to-ceiling windows overlooking the Han River. Beautiful and sterile, like a hotel no one lived in. We need to talk about Clause 19, she said without preamble. His face shifted. Minhua? Don't deflect. You told me about the investor. You didn't tell me about the image protocol. That you need permission for a public relationship. Because it didn't matter. It mattered enough that your board just suspended you. Sarai, no, listen. She stepped closer, voice low and fierce. You asked me for truth. I gave it. But you held back the one thing that would have let me make an informed choice. If I'd known this clause existed, if I'd known being with me could cost you the company, I wouldn't have let it go this far. That's exactly why I didn't tell you. Silence. The kind that cracks foundations. You don't get to protect me from consequences by hiding the truth, Sarai said quietly. That's just control dressed up as care. Xiangjin exhaled, long and ragged. You're right. I should have told you. He ran a hand through his hair. I've spent 2 years managing everyone's expectations. The board, the investors, the media. And then I met you. And for the first time, I didn't want to manage. I wanted to just be. So I convinced myself the clause didn't matter because I'd already decided you mattered more. But the decision wasn't just yours. It was mine, too. I know. He met her eyes. I'm sorry. For real this time. Sarai studied him. The exhaustion. The regret. The flicker of hope that maybe honesty could stitch the fracture. Here's what happens next, she said. You tell me everything. Every clause, every investor expectation, every risk. And I decide, with full information, whether I'm willing to walk into that fire with you. Deal? Deal. And if the answer is no, then we keep the pact. Truth above convenience, even if it ends us. She kissed him, not soft, not tentative. A kiss that said, I see all of you, including the parts you tried to hide, and I'm still here. When they pulled apart, Xiangjin whispered, I don't deserve you. Probably not, but I'm choosing you anyway. That night, he told her everything. The corrupt chaebol investor, the buyout clause, the fact that Taejun had introduced the deal and now held leverage, the secret offshore account used to smooth regulatory approvals. Not illegal, but gray enough to ruin them if exposed. Sarai listened. Didn't flinch, didn't judge, just absorbed. So if this goes public, she said finally, you lose the company, and possibly face legal consequences. Yes, and Taejun knows this, which means he's not just protecting the company, he's protecting himself. Yes, then we need to flip the script. Make the truth the weapon, not the liability. How? Sarai smiled. Sharp, strategic, the consultant who'd rebuilt from ashes. We expose the clause, and the investor, and we do it before Taejun can spin the narrative. That's corporate suicide. No, corporate suicide is letting them control the story. This is choosing the terms of battle. Xiangjin stared at her, then laughed, surprised, exhausted, exhilarated. You're terrifying. I know, still want me around? More than ever. Taejun requested a private meeting, not at the office, too many eyes, not at a restaurant, too public. A tea house in Bukchon, traditional, discreet, where politicians and executives made deals that never appeared in minutes. Sarai arrived alone. Taejun sat in the corner, navy suit, Swiss watch, expression neutral. Thank you for coming, Ms. Cole. Let's skip the pleasantries. You want something. He smiled, thin and calculating. Direct. I appreciate that. I'll return the favor. He slid a folder across the low wooden table. PayWave is launching a rebrand campaign, global expansion. We need a senior strategist to lead cultural adaptation for African and North American markets. 18 months. Retainer. $1.2 million plus equity options. Sarai opened the folder. Contract, scope, terms. Everything legitimate. What's the catch? No catch. You're qualified. Your work speaks for itself. Taejun, the catch. He leaned back, fingers steepled. The campaign launches in 6 months. We need the lead strategist visible, committed, undistracted. Which means for the next 6 months, through the IPO, your personal life stays private. No public appearances with Xiangjin, no statements. You work remotely, consult from a distance, and when the dust settles, you're welcome to reconnect. You're paying me to disappear. I'm paying you to prioritize professionalism. There's a difference. Not from where I'm sitting. Taejun's expression didn't change. Ms. Cole, I understand you care about him, but caring means wanting what's best. Right now, what's best for Xiangjin and for 300 employees is stability. The IPO funds expansion. Expansion funds jobs. Jobs feed families. Can you honestly say your relationship is worth jeopardizing that? Sarai felt the familiar tightness in her chest, the same feeling she'd had in New York, watching her ex-husband win, watching the world reward the performance over the truth. But this time, she had a phone in her pocket. Recording. Let me make sure I understand, she said slowly. You're offering me a 7-figure contract in exchange for staying away from Xiangjin for 6 months. If I refuse, what happens? Nothing happens. The offer expires. You continue your independent practice. Xiangjin continues to navigate board politics. Life goes on. And the morality clause? Taejun's smile thinned. Remains enforceable. Sarai stood. Thank you for the tea. And the offer. I'll need to think about it. Of course. You have 48 hours. She walked out, waited until she was 3 blocks away, then pulled out her phone, checked the recording. Clear, complete, damning. She called Xiangjin. I need to see you. Now. They met at her apartment. She played the recording, watched his face cycle through shock, anger, resignation. He's buying you off. He's trying. The question is, what do we do about it? We could leak it, expose him, burn down the whole corrupt system. Sarai shook her head. We could. But then what? You lose the company. The employees lose their jobs. Taejun plays the victim. Rogue CEO and vindictive consultant. We win the moral battle and lose the war. So we do nothing. No, we do something smarter. She leaned forward, eyes bright. We accept the contract, publicly. Make a big show of professional collaboration. Let Taejun think he won. And then quietly, we document every shady transaction, every offshore account, every bribe that kept PayWave alive. When the IPO closes and the money is secured, then we release everything, not as revenge, as accountability. That's a long game. Integrity isn't a sprint. It's a marathon with landmines. Xiangjin was quiet for a long moment. Then, if we do this, if we play along, we're lying. The pact was truth above convenience. No, the pact was radical honesty. And the most honest thing I can say right now is, I'm not willing to let him win by forcing us into a choice between love and survival. So we choose both. Publicly, we're professionals. Privately, we're us. And when the time is right, we tell the whole truth. And if someone finds out before then we deal with it. Together. He pulled her close, forehead to hers. I don't know if this makes us strategic or cowards. Maybe both. Maybe that's what survival looks like. I love you, he said. First time. Simple. True. I love you too, she whispered. Now let's go save your company and burn down the corruption. In that order. Sarai couldn't sleep. She lay in bed, staring at the ceiling, mind cycling through scenarios. Accept Tae-jun's offer, and she became complicit. Refuse, and Seong-jin faced the board alone. Leak the recording now, and they sacrificed 300 jobs for principal. At 2:47 a.m., she gave up on sleep, made coffee, opened her laptop, stared at the contract Tae-jun had sent. Her phone buzzed. Seong-jin. You awake? Can't turn my brain off. Same. Video call? She answered. He looked as wrecked as she felt. Hair mussed, eyes tired, sitting in his apartment with the city glowing behind him. I keep thinking about something my grandmother said, he began. When I was 16, I told her I wanted to be rich so I'd never be powerless. She said, money doesn't make you powerful. It makes you responsible. And responsibility without character is just another kind of poverty. Wise woman. She also said, when you don't know what to do, ask, what choice lets you sleep at night? Sarai smiled, sad and small. Right now? None of them. Then maybe that's the answer. We're not supposed to sleep through this. We're supposed to feel it. The weight. The cost. And choose anyway. She was quiet for a long time. Then, I'm going to turn down the contract. And I'm going to release the recording. Sarai. Not to the media. Not yet. To the board. Directly. Let them hear what Tae-jun tried to do. Let them decide if protecting him is worth the risk. They'll close ranks. Boards always do. Maybe. But if even one person votes with integrity, we've planted a seed. And seeds grow. And if they don't, then we walk away. From Paywave, from the IPO, from all of it. We start something new. Together. Seong-jin exhaled, something between a laugh and a sob. You're willing to burn it all down? I'm willing to build something that doesn't require lying. If that means burning first, so be it. I don't deserve you. Stop saying that. You deserve someone who believes integrity matters more than comfort. I'm just returning the favor. She hit send on the email. Recording attached, subject line, for your consideration, addressed to all 9 board members and the investor relations lead. Done, she said. No going back. Never wanted to. They stayed on the call until sunrise. Didn't talk much, just existed in the same digital space. 2 people who'd chosen truth and were waiting to see what truth cost. At 6:13 a.m., Seong-jin's phone rang. Emergency board meeting. 9 a.m. Here we go, he said. Here we go, she echoed. Whatever happens. I know, same. The board meeting was a cold war. 9 members. Tae-jun at the side, face impassive. Seong-jin at the head, suspended but present by emergency summons. Sarai wasn't invited, but she didn't need to be. Seong-jin wore an earbud, and she listened from her apartment, silent witness. The eldest board member, the former Samsung VP, spoke first. We've all heard the recording. Mr. Tae-jun, do you deny the conversation took place? I don't deny it. I deny the interpretation. Tae-jun's voice was steady, rehearsed. I offered Ms. Cole a legitimate consulting contract. The suggestion that she maintain professional distance during a critical IPO period is standard risk management. Calling it buying her off is sensationalism. You offered her $1.2 million to disappear for 6 months. That's not risk management. That's coercion. It's strategy. This board hired me to protect company value. That's what I did. Another member, younger, venture capital background, cut in. By threatening the CEO's personal life? By leveraging a morality clause that you introduced when you brokered the original investment? Silence. Explain, the Samsung VP said. Taejun hesitated. First crack. The investor group I introduced had specific requirements. Image stability was one. I negotiated the best terms I could. You negotiated a leash, the VC said. And now you're using it to control Seongjin and eliminate a woman who inconveniences your narrative. That's not... It is exactly that. The room fractured. 5 members defended Taejun. Stability, fiduciary duty, IPO risk. 4 questioned his motives, ethics, transparency, long-term culture. Then Seongjin spoke. I'm not asking you to fire Taejun. I'm asking you to ask yourselves, what company are we building? One that thrives because we hide the cracks? Or one that lasts because we fix them? This isn't philosophy, Taejun snapped. This is business. No, Seongjin said quietly. Business is what we do. Culture is who we are. And if who we are is a company that punishes honesty and rewards manipulation, then I don't want to lead it. The Samsung VP leaned back, fingers drumming the table. Motion to vote. Does Taejun's conduct violate the ethical standards expected of board members? Show of hands. 4 raised immediately. 1 hesitated, then lifted. 5-4. Motion carries. Mr. Taejun, you're removed from the board effective immediately. Pending legal review of your role in the initial investment terms. Taejun stood, jaw tight, eyes on Seongjin. You just destroyed this company. No, Seongjin said. I just saved it. Sarai was waiting outside the building when Seongjin emerged 2 hours later. He looked exhausted and free. 5-4, he said. I heard. Taejun's gone. The morality clause is under review. The IPO is delayed 6 months while we restructure governance. And you? Reinstated. Unanimous vote. Turns out the board prefers a CEO who tells the truth. She kissed him, there, on the sidewalk, in front of glass towers and lunch hour crowds. Not for show. Just because. A passing intern snapped a photo on her phone. This time, neither of them cared. They went to the Han River that evening. Not the tourist spots, the quiet stretch near Tuxeom, where locals jogged and couples sat on blankets watching the water reflect city lights. Sarai brought takeout. Seongjin brought a blanket that smelled like cedar. I can't believe we just did that, he said, unpacking fried chicken and pickled radish. Took down a corrupt board member, delayed an IPO, committed corporate heresy, chose honesty and survived. Sarai smiled. Survived is generous. We're alive. Survival implies we know what happens next. Do we? Not even a little. They ate in comfortable silence. Around them, Seoul hummed. Runners, cyclists, a street musician playing acoustic guitar 300 meters away. The sky deepened from orange to indigo. Tell me something, Seongjin said. If we'd met 10 years ago, would this have worked? No. Why not? Because 10 years ago I was still trying to prove I deserved space. You were still trying to prove you deserved success. We would have performed for each other. And now? Now we're too tired to perform. And too aware that performance is just fear dressed up as confidence. He kissed her. Slow. Deliberate. The kind of kiss that wasn't about heat. It was about presence. About 2 people who'd finally stopped running. When they pulled apart, Sarai whispered, I'm 51. You're 29. The world is going to have opinions. Let them. I'm done living for the world's approval. Even when it costs you? Especially when it costs me. Because the only thing more expensive than losing approval is losing yourself to keep it. They stayed until midnight. talked about everything and nothing. Made plans. Dinner with Minhua next week. A trip to Busan to meet his grandmother. A quiet weekend with no board meetings or consultancy deadlines. As they walked back to the subway, Xiangjin laced his fingers through hers. "This is real, right?" he asked. "Not just a reaction to chaos?" "It's real. Chaos just gave us permission to admit it." "Good, because I'm all in, even if it's terrifying. Especially because it's terrifying." Halmione lived in a traditional house on the hillside overlooking Hyundai Beach. Tile roof, wooden doors, garden thick with persimmon trees and autumn chrysanthemums. The house smelled like sesame oil and thyme. She opened the door before they knocked. 78, silver hair in a low bun, wearing a modernized hanbok in lavender and gray. Her gaze swept over Sarai, assessing, kind, sharp. "You're the one causing trouble," she said in Korean. Sarai, whose Korean was conversational but imperfect, replied carefully, "I'm the one loving your grandson. If that's trouble, I apologize." Halmione laughed, bright and sudden. "Good answer. Come in. I made too much food." The table was excessive. Grilled mackerel, kimchi jjigae, japchae, banchan in small ceramic dishes. Xiangjin helped serve. Familiar, comfortable. Sarai watched the way he moved in this space. Less CEO, more grandson. "Xiangjin told me about the board," Halmione said as they ate. "You recorded the conversation. Smart. Risky," Sarai corrected. "Smart and risky. The best things usually are." She refilled Sarai's tea. "He also told me you're 51. People will judge. They already are. Let them. I'm 78. I've been judged my whole life. For being a woman, for working when I should have been home, for refusing an arranged marriage. Judgment is just other people's fear reflected back at you." Sarai smiled. "You remind me of my mother." "Is that a compliment?" "The highest." After dinner, Halmione pulled Sarai aside while Xiangjin washed dishes. They stood in the garden, fine rain misting down, soft and cold. "I'm going to tell you something," Halmione said, "and I need you to listen." "I'm listening." "During the war, 1952, I was a volunteer nurse. We treated everyone, soldiers, civilians, refugees. One night, an American soldier came in, black, 23, shrapnel in his leg. The other nurses wouldn't touch him. Afraid, prejudiced, I don't know. I treated him anyway." She paused, eyes distant. "He told me, the hardest thing isn't the pain. It's being invisible because people decided what you are before they met you. That stayed with me. What happened to him? He survived, went home, sent me one letter. It said, 'Dignity is doing the right thing when everyone is watching.'" She looked at Sarai, eyes fierce. "That's what you and Xiangjin are doing, choosing dignity. The world will watch. Let them." Sarai's throat tightened. "I'm afraid I'll cost him everything." "You won't. They might. But that's not your fault. It's theirs for valuing comfort over character. What if he regrets choosing me?" Halmione smiled, soft and knowing. "He won't. Because you're not asking him to choose you over something. You're asking him to choose himself. And that's the gift." She pressed a silk scarf into Sarai's hands, faded lavender, worn soft. "My mother's. She wore it when she fled the north. I wore it when I defied my family. Now you wear it. Bridges need anchors." Sarai held it like a sacred thing. "I can't. You can. You will." When they left that night, rain heavier now, Xiangjin asked, "What did she say to you?" "That dignity is doing the right thing when everyone is watching." "Sounds like her." "She gave me her mother's scarf." Xiangjin stopped walking, turned. "She's never given that to anyone, not even my mother." "What does that mean?" "It means she chose you. And when Halmione chooses, it's forever." The email arrived on a Tuesday. Subject: Legal notice. Intellectual property dispute. Sender, Daniel Hartwell, via his attorney. Sarai read it twice, then called Minhua. He's suing me. Claims the methodology I've been using in Seoul is joint intellectual property from our marriage. Wants half of all consulting fees I've earned since 2017. Minhua swore in Korean. Can he do that? Legally? Maybe. We never formalized the IP split in the divorce. I was too destroyed to fight, and he knew it. So what now? Now I prove he's full of shit, and I do it publicly. Erti. Xiong-jin found her that night in her apartment, surrounded by documents, case files, contracts. The original methodology drafts, her handwriting, her notes, dated 2 years before she met Daniel. He's claiming you stole from him, Xiong-jin said, scanning the legal notice. He's claiming I can't succeed without him, which is worse. What do you need? A paper trail, proof the methodology predates the marriage, witness testimony, and a lawyer who isn't afraid of a fight. I know someone. Former prosecutor now handles corporate IP cases. She's ruthless. Good. Because I'm done being the woman who fled. This time I fight. Xiong-jin pulled her close. You know this will get messy. He'll drag your name. The media will love it. Ex-husband versus new boyfriend, age gap drama, international intrigue. Let them. I'm not hiding anymore. Good, because I'm not letting you fight alone. The lawsuit went public 3 days later. Headlines exploded. Black consultant faces IP lawsuit from ex-husband. Paywave CEO stands by her side. Age gap, romance or corporate espionage. The Sarai Cole controversy deepens. Comment sections turned vicious. Half defended her, half called her a fraud. The other half, because internet math doesn't care, just wanted drama. But then Minhua did something unexpected. She published an op-ed in the Korea Herald. Why we question successful women and why it needs to stop. Excerpt. I've known Sarai Cole for 6 years. I've watched her build a consultancy from nothing, navigate a market that questioned her at every turn, and maintain grace under pressure that would break most people. Now her ex-husband, the same man who destroyed their firm and walked away wealthy, wants to claim her success as his. This isn't about intellectual property. It's about a system that refuses to let women own their achievements without a man's approval. And it's time we called it what it is. Theft dressed as legality. The op-ed went viral. Shares, comments, think pieces. Other consultants, women who'd been erased, uncredited, sidelined, started sharing their stories. The narrative shifted. Daniel's lawyer called 2 weeks later. Settlement offer. Drop the suit. Both parties walk away. No fees exchanged. Sarai's lawyer, the former prosecutor, sharp as a blade, laughed. He's scared. The paper trail is airtight. If this goes to court, he loses. And he knows it. So we reject the settlement? We counteroffer. He pays you for the reputational damage, and he signs an NDA preventing him from ever claiming credit for your work again. And if he refuses, then we go to trial, and we bury him. Sarai smiled, cold and bright. Let's bury him. Minhua's divorce finalized the same week Daniel's lawsuit collapsed. She called Sarai at midnight, voice raw. It's done. I'm free. How do you feel? Terrified, relieved. Like I just walked out of a burning building and I'm not sure if I should laugh or cry. Both. Definitely both. They met for soju the next night. Hongdae, a tiny pojangmatcha with plastic chairs and grilled pork belly. Minhua looked lighter, older, real. I need to tell you something, she said, pouring their third round. When I first met you, I thought you were reckless, dating a younger man, refusing to play the game. I judged you. I know. You knew. Of course, everyone judges. The question is whether they adjust. Minhua laughed, surprised. I adjusted. Watching you fight, Daniel, Taejun, the internet, it reminded me I'd stopped fighting. I'd spent 15 years managing a marriage that died in year 3 because I was too afraid to admit I wanted more. And now I want what you have. Not Seongjin. God, no, he's exhausting. But the courage to choose truth even when it's expensive. Sarai clinked her glass. Truth is expensive, but lies cost your soul. I'll take broken whole over rich and hollow. You're not broke anymore. The consultancy is thriving. Paywave's IPO is back on track. Daniel's lawyer is begging for a settlement. External success doesn't mean internal peace. I'm still learning that. Minhua leaned back, studying her friend. You've changed. When I met you 8 years ago, you were armor with a woman inside. Now you're a woman who wears armor when necessary. There's a difference. Seongjin did that. No. You did that. He just gave you permission to try. The settlement came through the following week. Daniel agreed to pay $150,000 in reputational damages, sign a perpetual NDA, and publicly retract any claims to her methodology. His lawyer delivered the signed documents with a terse note. Client wishes to move forward. No further contact. Sarai sat in her apartment holding the papers, feeling nothing and everything at once. Seongjin found her there an hour later. It's over? It's over. How do you feel? Like I finally exhaled after holding my breath for 8 years. She looked up. He doesn't get to define me anymore. Not my past, not my work, not my worth. No, he doesn't. Thank you for standing with me through this. Seongjin sat beside her, lacing their fingers together. That's what love is. Standing. When it's easy and when it's brutal and when it's so mundane you forget you're doing it. Very poetic for a CEO. I have depths. She laughed. Genuine. Free. You do. And I love every exhausting one of them. They returned to the bookstore on the 3-month anniversary of the handshake. Same reading nook. Same amber lamp. Different books. Sarai picked up bell hooks. All about love. Seongjin grabbed Haruki Murakami, Norwegian wood. We should make this a tradition, he said, settling into the wingback chair. Coming here at 1 a.m. when normal people sleep? Exactly that. They read in comfortable silence, occasionally sharing passages aloud. Around them, the bookstore hummed with late-night energy. Students cramming, insomniacs browsing, couples whispering over shared poetry. At 3:47 a.m., Sarai set down her book. I've been thinking. Dangerous. Always. But listen, what if we created something together? Not a company. Something that actually matters. Like what? A program. Scholarships for women over 40 who want to pivot careers. Financial literacy workshops for low-income youth. Mentorship that doesn't require corporate sponsorship or board approval. Seongjin leaned forward, eyes bright. An institute. Exactly. Funded how? My settlement money, your salary, crowdfunding if we need it. Keep it lean, keep it honest. Keep it ours. Yes. He pulled out his phone, opened a notes app. Okay, structure, mission, target demographic. Let's build it right now. They worked until dawn, sketching ideas, arguing logistics, laughing at terrible name suggestions. The Truth Academy, Radical Honesty Foundation, Please Stop Lying Institute. By 6 a.m., they had a framework. The Bridge Collective. Mission, empowering individuals to rebuild with integrity through education, mentorship, and financial support. Programs, career transition scholarships, 40+, financial literacy workshops, 1825, ethical leadership seminars. Funding, private donations, no corporate sponsorship with strings attached. Core value, truth over performance, always. Bridge, Sarai repeated, like Halmayoni's scarf. Like what we're building, between generations, between cultures, between who we were and who we're becoming. She kissed him. There in the bookstore, under amber light, surrounded by stories of other people's transformations. This was theirs. Seong-jin signed them up for a ceramics class without telling her. Why? Sarai asked when they arrived at the studio in Insadong. Brick walls, pottery wheels, shelves lined with misshapen bowls and lopsided vases. Because we're both control freaks who need to learn that imperfection is part of the design. You've been reading self-help books. Hermione's been giving me life advice. Same thing. The instructor, a woman in her 60s with clay-stained hands and a knowing smile, set them up at adjacent wheels. The clay will tell you what it wants to be. Your job is to listen. Sarai's first attempt collapsed within 30 seconds. Seong-jin's leaned sideways like the Tower of Pisa had a drunk cousin. They lasted an hour before dissolving into laughter. Messy, uncontrolled. The kind that comes from trying something difficult together and failing spectacularly. I'm terrible at this, Sarai said, hands covered in gray slip. We're both terrible. That's the point. What point? That we can be terrible at something and still show up. That failure isn't fatal. That sometimes the crooked bowl is more interesting than the perfect one. She looked at him. Really looked. Clay smudged on his cheek, glasses slightly askew, grinning like a man who'd remembered how to play. I love you, she said. Not dramatic, just true. I love you too, even though you just destroyed that clay's will to live. They left with 2 misshapen bowls. Hers collapsed inward, his tilted at 15 degrees. The instructor wrapped them carefully. These will be beautiful once they're fired. You'll see. 3 weeks later, they picked up the finished pieces. The flaws had transformed. Sarai's collapsed bowl now held depth, shadow, character. Seong-jin's tilted vase balanced precariously but stood. They're perfect, Sarai whispered. They're imperfect. But they're ours. They placed the bowls on her kitchen shelf. Visible, imperfect. Proof that beauty didn't require symmetry. Just truth. The IPO launched 6 months after Taijun's removal. Paywave stock opened at $47, climbed to $63 by noon, closed at $58. The company was valued at $2.1 billion. Seong-jin's stake made him wealthier than he'd ever wanted to be. He called Sarai from the trading floor. It's done. How do you feel? Rich and empty. The champagne tastes like obligation. Come home. Where's home? Wherever I am, obviously. He found her 2 hours later on Bampo Bridge, standing at the railing watching the Rainbow Fountain show. Water and light synchronized to music, tourists filming, couples holding hands. You left your own IPO celebration to meet me on a bridge? She asked without turning. The celebration was performance. This is real. She finally looked at him. He'd loosened his tie, rolled his sleeves, carried 2 paper cups of convenience store coffee. Classy. The most expensive champagne in Seoul costs $3,000 a bottle and tastes like regret. This coffee costs $2 and tastes like honesty. I'll take honesty. They stood side by side, watching the water arc and fall, the city glowing around them. I've been thinking, Seong-jin said, about what happens next. And I want to step down as CEO, not immediately. Transition over 12 months. Find someone who wants to build the company. I want to build us, the Institute. A life that doesn't require performance. You're sure? I've never been more sure of anything. Except you. Sarai turned to face him fully. Seong-jin, I'm 51. You're 29. In 10 years, I'll be 61. You'll be 39. The math doesn't change. Good. Because I'm not doing math. I'm choosing the person who taught me that integrity matters more than optics. That presence beats performance. That starting over at any age is an act of courage. You're very eloquent for someone drinking convenience store coffee. I practiced in the cab. She laughed, bright and free. What exactly are you asking? I'm asking if you'll build something with me. Not a company, a life. Imperfect, honest, ours. No filter, no performance. Just truth. That's not a proposal. No, it's a promise. The proposal comes later. When? When you're ready. When I'm ready. When it feels true instead of strategic. Sarai kissed him, there on Banpo Bridge, water arcing behind them, strangers filming the fountain show accidentally capturing their moment. I'm choosing you too, she whispered. Every difficult, beautiful, terrifying piece. The Bridge Collective launched quietly. No press conference. No celebrity endorsements. Just a website, an application portal, and word of mouth from Minhua's networks. First month, 43 applications for the Career Transition Scholarships. They funded 5. Second month, 87 applications. They funded 8 and started a waiting list. Third month, the Korea Herald ran a feature. From corporate success to social impact, Paywave CEO and partner launch education initiative. Applications exploded. But so did criticism. Age gap couple using philanthropy for PR. Vanity project disguised as social good. How long before this collapses like all celebrity charities? Sarai read the comments once, then closed her laptop. The internet will always internet. Xiangjin was reviewing applications at the kitchen table. Her apartment had become unofficial institute headquarters. We could respond, set the record straight. Or we could just keep working. Results speak louder than press releases. 6 months in, they had tangible results. 12 women, ages 42-58, had completed career transition training. 9 had secured new positions. 1 had started her own consultancy. 2 were still job hunting, but reported renewed confidence. The financial literacy workshops had served 247 young people. 73 reported opening their first savings accounts. The ethical leadership seminars, targeted at mid-level managers tired of toxic corporate culture, had waiting lists of 400. Minhua joined as director of operations, bringing her fashion industry contacts and operational genius. Halmioni became an unofficial advisor, hosting monthly dinners in Busan, where scholarship recipients could talk to someone who survived harder times with grace intact. The crooked ceramic bowls sat on a shelf in the institute's tiny office, a reminder that imperfection was part of the design. At the 1-year mark, they held a small celebration. Not a gala, a potluck at the institute. Scholarship recipients brought food from their cultures: Nigerian jollof rice, Korean japchae, American mac and cheese, Filipino lumpia. The office smelled like 50 different definitions of home. A woman named Soon Hee, 47, former accountant now retraining as a software developer, stood to speak. I applied because I saw Ms. Cole's story, a woman who rebuilt after everything fell apart. I thought, if she can do it at 51, maybe I can at 47. This program didn't just give me money. It gave me permission to believe I wasn't expired. Applause. Not polite. Thunderous. Sarai's throat tightened. Xiangjin squeezed her hand under the table. Later, as they cleaned up, Minhua cornered them. You know what you've built here? A modest program with decent results? Sarai offered. No, hope with a budget. That's rarer than you think. That night, walking home along the Han River, Xiangjin pulled out a small box. Sarai stopped walking. Is that... No, not a ring. Open it. Inside, a key. Apartment key by the look of it. What is this? My place is sterile. Yours is cramped. I found something new. Hanamdong, 2 bedrooms, balcony overlooking the river. Space for us and the work we're building. If you want it. You're asking me to move in? I'm asking if you're ready for the next chapter. No performance. Just us, building something real. Sarai held the key, feeling its weight, literal and metaphorical. I'm 52 now. You're 30. The math still doesn't make sense. Good thing we're not doing math. We're doing life. She kissed him, soft and sure. Yes, let's go home. Which home? Ours. The Paywave transition happened gradually. Xiangjin announced his intention to step down, effective in 12 months. The board, different now, post-Taijun, received it with surprising grace. "Who's your successor?" the Samsung VP asked. Ji-yeon Park, current COO. She's been running operations for 3 years while I played CEO. Time to make it official. And you'll do what? Build something that matters more than shareholder value. One board member, the venture capitalist who'd voted to remove Taijun, smiled. Good. You were always better at vision than execution anyway. The announcement went public 2 weeks later. Media response was mixed. Paywave CEO steps down to focus on social impact. Songjin Ryu walks away from billions. Age gap romance to blame. From tech darling to philanthropist, a second actor career suicide. Songjin read exactly one article, then stopped. The noise doesn't matter. The work does. His final board meeting was quiet. No drama, no grand speeches, just transfer of authority, signatures, handshakes. Ji-yeon Park, 38, brilliant and no-nonsense, took the CEO chair. "Any final wisdom?" she asked Seong-jin. "Yeah, don't sign contracts that compromise who you are. And if you do, fix it before it fixes you." That's specific. That's experience. Walking out of the building for the last time as CEO, Seong-jin felt lighter than he had in years. No more performance, no more morality clauses, no more board meetings where profit trumped principle. Sarai was waiting outside, leaning against a stone planter, reading a book. "How does it feel?" she asked. "Like I just set down something heavy I'd been carrying so long I forgot it wasn't part of me. Freedom? Terrifying, expensive, worth it freedom." They walked to the subway together. Former CEO and consultant. Now just 2 people building something that mattered more than resumes. 3 months after Seong-jin's transition, Halmioni called with unexpected news. "Come to Busan, this weekend. I have something to show you." They arrived Saturday morning. Halmioni greeted them with her usual efficiency. Hugs, tea, too much food already prepared. After lunch, she led them to a small wooden chest in her bedroom. Lacquered, old, smelling of cedar and thyme. "I told you about the soldier I treated during the war," she began. "The one who taught me about dignity." "I remember," Sarai said softly. Halmioni opened the chest. Inside, letters, photographs, a faded military patch. She pulled out an envelope. Yellowed paper, careful folds. "He sent me this letter in 1953. Right before he shipped home. I never showed anyone, but I think you need to see it now." She handed it to Sarai. The handwriting was precise, controlled. "Dear Nurse Kim, I'm writing this from the hospital ship, heading back to Virginia. I wanted to thank you. Not just for treating my leg, but for treating me like I mattered when everyone else looked through me. You told me once, while changing the dressing, that your family didn't approve of your work. That they wanted you home, married, invisible. You said, but I'm not made for invisible. That stayed with me. I'm going back to a country that will also want me invisible. Segregated, less than. But I'm taking something you gave me. The knowledge that dignity isn't granted. It's claimed. And I'm going to spend my life claiming it, loudly, until the world has no choice but to listen. You saved my life. But more than that, you reminded me I had one worth saving. With deepest gratitude, Corporal James Crawford." Sarai read it twice, throat tight, handed it to Seong-jin, who read in silence. "What happened to him?" Seong-jin asked quietly. "I don't know. We lost touch after that letter. But I kept it. Because he was right. Dignity is claimed, not granted. And watching you two claim it, against boards and ex-husbands and internet trolls, that's Corporal Crawford's lesson living on." She took the letter back, returned it to the chest. "I'm 78. I've watched Korea transform from ashes to empire, and the hardest lesson I've learned is this. Progress doesn't come from people who wait for permission. It comes from people who act with integrity and let the world catch up. Sarai wiped her eyes. Thank you for sharing that. Thank you for living it. Now let's eat more food. I made too much again. That night, lying in the guest room, Sarai whispered, Your grandmother is extraordinary. She likes you more than she likes me. Probably because I'm closer to her age. Ouch. Truth hurts. Truth heals. Lies hurt. She rolled over to face him. Do you ever regret it? Choosing this path instead of the easy one? Every day, he admitted. And then I wake up next to you, or see a scholarship recipient land her dream job, or watch Hermione approve of my choices, and I remember, easy isn't the same as right. That's very mature of you. I learned from an older woman. Stop. Never. Seongjin proposed on a random Tuesday. No grand gesture. No restaurant with a hidden photographer. Just their apartment, morning coffee, rain pattering the windows. Marry me, he said, passing her the cracked ceramic cup, their favorite, the one from the cafe that started everything. Sarai looked up from her laptop. What? Marry me, not because it makes sense, not because we've been together long enough, but because I want to wake up for the next 40 years and choose you, legally, publicly, permanently. That's the worst proposal I've ever heard. It's the only one I've got. She set down the coffee. Seongjin, I'm 52. You're 30. Marriage is a promise about the future, and my future is statistically shorter than yours. Then let's make the time we have count instead of wasting it on math. What if you change your mind? I won't. What if I get sick? What if aging is harder than you think? What if... Sarai. He took her hands. I've spent my entire adult life planning for every contingency. Backup plans for backup plans. It's exhausting. So here's my new plan. Choose you. Every day. In sickness and health and whatever the world throws at us. No contingencies. Just commitment. You're insane. Probably. Is that a yes? She kissed him. Coffee flavored. Morning soft. It's a yes. But I'm keeping my name. Obviously. And we're doing a small wedding. No media circus. Agreed. And if you ever get tired of me, you tell me. No faking for the cameras. That's literally impossible. But noted. They called Minhwa first. Finally! She screamed through the phone. I've been waiting 18 months for you two to stop being idiots. We were being practical. No, you were being scared. There's a difference. I'm planning the whole thing. Minhwa. Too late. Already texting vendors. You're welcome. Hermione cried. Happy tears, rare and precious. When? Spring. Small. Family and close friends. Perfect. I'll make the teokondo myself. No arguing. The engagement photo leaked anyway, because Seoul is small, and someone at the registry office recognized them. Headlines. Paywave founder Seongjin Ryu. Engaged to consultant Sarai Cole. Love wins against the odds. For once, the comments were mostly kind. If they're happy, who cares about the age gap? Relationship goals. Actually building something together. Plot twist. The real romance was the integrity we found along the way. Sarai read them once, smiled, closed the laptop. The internet approved. Don't get used to it. They'll hate us again next week. Probably. But this week we'll take the win. They married on a Saturday in April. Location. Small traditional house in Bukchon, borrowed from Minhwa's cousin. 40 guests, family, close friends, scholarship recipients who'd become extended family. No photographers except Minhwa's brother, who promised to be discreet and artistic, not tabloid and invasive. Sarai wore a dress she'd designed with Minhwa, ivory silk with subtle African print accents at the hem, elegant and hers. Hermione's scarf draped over her shoulders. Seongjin wore a simple navy suit, no tie, the Mont Blanc pen in his pocket. now used exclusively for writing letters to people who mattered. The ceremony was bilingual, Korean and English, officiated by a friend who was a judge and had presided over PayWave's legal restructuring. Vows were private, whispered Sarai. I promise to tell you the truth, even when it's hard. To build with you, not for you. To claim dignity, loudly, until the world listens. Seongjin, I promise to show up, in the easy moments and the brutal ones, to choose presence over performance, to love you louder than the world's doubt. They kissed. Guests applauded. Halmione wept openly. The reception was a potluck. Everyone brought food. The tables groaned under the weight of 50 cultures' definitions of celebration. Sun Hee, the scholarship recipient, gave a toast. To the couple who taught us that starting over isn't failure. It's courage wearing work clothes. Minhwa followed. To my sister friend who fled New York with nothing and rebuilt an empire of integrity. And to the man smart enough to recognize a queen when he saw one. Halmione went last, voice strong despite the tears. 65 years ago, a young soldier told me dignity is claimed, not granted. Today, I watched my grandson and his wife claim it in front of everyone. I'm proud doesn't cover it. I'm grateful. They left early. No grand exit, just slipping out around 9 p.m. while guests danced and ate and celebrated. Walked to the Han River, still in wedding clothes, holding hands. We did it, Sarai said. We did. Now what? Now we live. Build the institute. Fight the good fights. Grow old together, however that looks. You make it sound simple. It's not simple. It's just true. They sat on a bench, city lights reflecting off the water, and talked about everything. Honeymoon plans. Busan, to spend time with Halmione. Institute expansion. Opening a second location. The future. Uncertain. Promising theirs. At midnight, Seongjin's phone buzzed. A text from Jihyun Park, current PayWave CEO. IPO follow-on just closed. 4.7B valuation. Your stock options are worth 340 mailers. Congratulations. Now stop checking your phone on your wedding night. He showed Sarai. That's a lot of zeros, she said. That's a lot of scholarships. You're donating it? Most of it. We'll keep enough to live comfortably. The rest goes to the institute. Money was never the point. What was the point? Building something that outlasts us. With you. She leaned her head on his shoulder. I love you. Even though you're exhaustingly principled. I love you. Even though you're terrifyingly right about everything. Not everything. Just most things. I'll take those odds. Closing. Light returns. 2 years later, the Bridge Collective had expanded to 3 locations, Seoul, Busan, and New York. Partnership with 12 corporations who'd agreed to no-strings funding, Minhwa's contract language, notoriously specific. 374 scholarship recipients. 82% successful career transitions. 15 had started their own businesses. The financial literacy program had served over 2,000 young people. The ethical leadership seminars had waiting lists in 4 countries. Sarai and Seongjin split their time between the Seoul office and traveling to satellite locations. She was 54 now, he 32. The age gap still generated occasional headlines, but mostly the world had moved on to newer scandals. Daniel hadn't contacted her in 18 months. The NDA held. The past stayed past. Taejun had quietly retired, moving to Jeju Island, occasionally spotted at cafes reading philosophy books. No hard feelings, no reconciliation, just the distance of people who'd outgrown each other's narratives. PayWave thrived under Jihyun's leadership, now valued at $8 billion. Seongjin owned shares but never attended board meetings. He'd moved on. One evening, they returned to the 24-hour bookstore in Jongno. Same nook, same amber lamp, different books, always different books. 3 years since the handshake, Seongjin noted. Best bad decision I ever made, Sarai replied. Truth above convenience. No games. They read in comfortable silence. Around them, the bookstore hummed. Students, insomniacs, couples discovering each other over shared pages. At 3 a.m., the lights flickered. Just once. Brief. Then steady again. They looked at each other and laughed, remembering the blackout, the keynote, the moment everything began. Light that fails and returns, Sarai said. Metaphor for literally everything. We should write this down, so people remember it's possible. Write what? That you can start over at 51. That integrity costs but pays dividends. That love doesn't need to make sense. It just needs to be true. Xiangjin pulled out his phone, opened a notes app. Okay, let's write it. Together. They worked until dawn, outlining their story, arguing over details, laughing at the absurdity and beauty of it all. By 6 a.m., they had the opening. The keynote should have started in 3 minutes. And the closing. Love is not a fairy tale. It's not a performance. It's two people choosing presence over perfection, truth over comfort, courage over convenience. It's waking up every day and deciding, today, I build something real. The book published 18 months later. Claiming Dignity, a love story without filters. It wasn't a bestseller, but it didn't need to be. The people who needed it found it. The women considering career pivots at 45. The men tired of performing masculinity. The couples wondering if honesty was worth the risk. Reviews were mixed, but one stood out, published in The Korea Herald. This isn't a romance novel. It's a manifesto. Sarai Cole and Ryu Seung-jin don't just tell you love is possible after 50, or across cultural divides, or despite public scrutiny. They show you the blueprint. Truth, presence, radical commitment to building something that matters more than optics. Read it, then live it. On their 5th anniversary, they stood on Banpo Bridge again. Rainbow fountain show in full display. Tourists filming. Couples holding hands. Do you regret it? Sarai asked. Giving up the CEO life? Every single day, Xiangjin said, then grinned. For about 30 seconds. Then I remember what I gained. Which is? You, the Institute. A life that doesn't require translation. Freedom to be exactly who I am without a board vote. That's very poetic. I've been reading your book. It's rubbing off. She kissed him. There on the bridge, water arcing behind them, city glowing around them. 5 years, 2 organizations. One truth. Presence beats performance. Every single time. I love you, she whispered. I love you too. Now and for the next however many years we get. That's not very romantic. It's honest. Same thing. The final lesson. Love is not measured in years. It's measured in moments of radical honesty. In choosing to show up when it's hard. In building something that outlasts the headlines. Sarai Cole was 51. Xiangjin was 29. The world said it wouldn't work. They proved the world wrong. Not by defending their choice, but by living it so loudly, so honestly, so completely, that doubt had nowhere to live. Because dignity, like love, isn't granted. It's claimed. And they claimed it. Together.